After a long and notable silence, Archbishop Carlo Maria Viganò has once again spoken. His message, though brief, carries with it a weight that cannot be ignored. It touches on issues that have been quietly stirring beneath the surface of the Catholic Church for some time now. His statement is already sparking serious conversation across religious communities, theological circles, and among the faithful who have followed the Church's direction over the years with deep interest and concern. This recent message from Archbishop Vigano comes at a time when many in the Catholic world have been adjusting to what they believed was a shift in the Church's leadership. When Pope Leo XIV was first introduced to the world, his election was seen by many as a bold departure from the path set by his predecessor, Pope Francis. People across different regions and backgrounds believed that his papacy might mark the beginning of a new era, one that would break away from the policies and tone that had characterized Pope Francis's time in the Vatican. But as time has passed, and as the early days of Pope Leo XIV's pontificate have begun to take shape, a different picture has emerged. Instead of a sharp change, what we are witnessing appears to be something more gradual, more consistent, and more familiar. Rather than discarding the legacy of Pope Francis, Pope Leo seems to be building upon it. Through both his public words and his early decisions, Pope Leo XIV has reaffirmed his commitment to several core values that were central during Francis's time. One of these values is the commitment to ecumenical dialogue. Just as Pope Francis frequently reached out to leaders of other Christian denominations and even other world religions, Pope Leo XIV has continued this approach. He has stressed the importance of understanding and cooperation between different faith communities. In a world that is increasingly fragmented and marked by religious tension, this message of unity and peaceful conversation stands out as both timely and necessary. Another key principle that has carried over into Pope Leo's leadership is the emphasis on synodality. This concept, which refers to a more collaborative and inclusive approach to church governance, was a hallmark of Francis's vision. Synodality encourages listening, especially to those voices that have often gone unheard in traditional church structures. It calls for open dialogue among bishops, priests, religious and lay people alike. Pope Leo has embraced this approach, encouraging an environment where discussion and shared responsibility can thrive. In addition to ecumenical outreach and synodality, Pope Leo XIV has also shown a dedication to leading the Church toward a model that many have described as more inclusive and participatory. These aren't just slogans or surface-level gestures. They reflect a deeper philosophy about the Church's role in the modern world. By continuing along this path, Pope Leo signals that his vision for the Church is more evolutionary than revolutionary. It is a slow and steady continuation, not a complete turnaround. Of course, this direction has not gone unnoticed. Many had hoped for something more dramatic, perhaps a papacy that would undo or reconsider some of the positions taken by Pope Francis. But what we see instead is a leader who seems to value continuity, stability, and the careful development of reforms that began in the previous pontificate. Rather than ripping up what was done before, Pope Leo appears to be cultivating it further. In the midst of all this, Archbishop Viganò's statement lands like a stone thrown into calm waters. It challenges the idea that all is settled or agreed upon within the hierarchy of the Church. Though he speaks briefly, his words are layered with meaning and they tap into deeper questions about where the Church is heading. His statement is likely to be studied, debated, and referenced by both supporters and critics in the weeks and months to come. But even as these high-level discussions play out among church leaders and theologians, another story is quietly taking place, one that speaks to the deeper roots of the Catholic tradition. This story is unfolding not in Rome or among the Vatican's inner circles, but in the countryside of France. There, preparations are underway for a special event that touches on faith, history, and devotion. In the summer of 2025, a two-day celebration will take place to honor the 400th anniversary of a remarkable event. In the small village of Auray, a Breton peasant named Ivan Nicolazic reported a vision in the year 1623. According to long-standing tradition, Ivan saw Saint Anne, the mother of the Virgin Mary and the grandmother of Jesus, This vision would go on to become one of the most beloved and enduring stories of Catholic devotion in the region. The apparition of St. Anne did not come to a priest or a bishop. It came to a humble man working the land, living a simple life, and likely unaware that his experience would echo through the centuries. The shrine that was later built on the spot of his vision has drawn pilgrims for generations. People have traveled from all over to visit this sacred place to pray and to feel a connection to something greater than themselves. The upcoming celebration will mark not only the anniversary of that apparition, but also the strength and endurance of faith that can be found in even the quietest corners of the world. While it may not make international headlines or be covered by major media outlets, this event is deeply meaningful for those who participate in it and for those who hold St. Anne close in their spiritual lives. This contrast between the grand discussions of church direction and the quiet strength of devotional life is powerful. It reminds us that the Church exists on many levels. There are the high offices, where policies and papal messages shape the future. And there are also the everyday believers, the pilgrims, the villagers, and the faithful, who keep the heart of the Church beating through prayer, tradition, and local acts of faith. Even as Archbishop Vigano's message challenges current thinking at the highest levels, and as Pope Leo XIV navigates the expectations of his papacy, the Church remains deeply rooted in the lived experiences of its people. Whether it's a humble shrine in Brittany or a statement from a controversial figure, all of these pieces form a part of the Church's living story. After a long and notable silence, Archbishop Carlo Maria Viganò has once again spoken. His message, though brief, carries with it a weight that cannot be ignored. In just a few lines, he has reignited questions that have quietly lingered beneath the surface of the Catholic Church for years. The timing of his message is important. It comes at a moment when many within the Church have been adjusting their expectations. Expectations about what this new papacy would look like, what direction it might take, and whether real change was truly on the horizon. When Pope Leo XIV was elected, many saw it as a possible break from the past. For years under Pope Francis, the Church had taken a specific path, one marked by open dialogue, broader inclusion, and a strong push for reforms. Some welcomed those changes with open arms, others watched with concern. So when Pope Leo was introduced to the world, many believed this might mark a different era, perhaps a return to older traditions, clearer teachings, or firmer lines on doctrine and liturgy. But now, with the early months of his leadership behind us, a clearer picture is beginning to form. And it's not the sharp change that some expected. Instead, it's something more familiar. Pope Leo has not attempted to dismantle the work of Pope Francis. He has not reversed the policies or reforms that were set in motion. If anything, he has chosen to continue them, though perhaps with a different style, a quieter tone, or a slower pace. One area where this is especially visible is in ecumenical dialogue. Pope Francis was known for building bridges with other Christian communities and other world religions. He emphasized respect, understanding, and peace between faiths. That legacy is continuing under Pope Leo. Rather than drawing hard boundaries, he has called for openness and cooperation. In today's divided and often hostile world, this message of mutual respect is one that continues to resonate. Another important value that remains central is synodality. This is the idea that the Church should listen more, that bishops, clergy, religious, and lay people should all be part of important conversations. Pope Francis introduced synodality as a way to create a more participatory and listening Church. Pope Leo has embraced this idea as well. He has encouraged open dialogue and the inclusion of voices that, in the past, may not have been heard. For some, this is a welcome continuation. For others, it is a sign that the Church is not going to return to the older, more hierarchical model that some had hoped would come back. Pope Leo's early actions suggest that he is not interested in making sudden or radical changes. His is a leadership that values stability, gradual development, and a patient unfolding of reform. This approach is not without its critics. There are those who hoped his papacy would quickly and firmly restore what they see as clarity, order, and tradition. But so far what we are seeing is a pope who is carefully walking forward, not turning back.